Welcome to the Transform My Dance Studio podcast, the only podcast for dance studio owners, where each week we bring you business growth strategies to help you increase your profits, impact the lives of more students, while ensuring you get back some time to have a little life outside of the studio. It's time for you to become the go-to studio in your area. Now, here's your host, founder of the Dance Studio Owners Association, Clint Salter.
Hey studio owners, it's Clint Salter here. Welcome to another episode of the Transform My Dance Studio podcast. We are in week 2 of our best of month. I hope you loved last week's episode where we had 5 super awesome guests talking about student attraction. This week is all about social media. And before we jump in, I want to say to you, if student attraction is a priority for you, if you would like to have fuller classes at your dance studio, I want to let you know about a great guide I've written called 7 Ways to Attract Students in 7 Days. And you can pick up your free copy today by just jumping onto our website, dancestudioownersassociation.com. When you go to the website, right on the homepage there, you'll see the guide that we've created. Put in your details and you'll get that straight to your inbox. Now, today, like I said, all about social media. The sometimes confusing world of social media, and we've got some amazing people, 4 superstars, 4 gurus when it comes to mastering social media for your dance studio. We've got Paul Raimondo coming on to talk about Facebook and Snapchat. The awesome Sue B. Zimmerman is talking all about Instagram. My good friend Kylie Bartlett is also chatting about Facebook, and we've got Mauricio Escobar who's going to be talking to us about digital marketing, kind of wrapping it all up in a bow. I hope you love this episode. It's our second one of our best of month. During March, every week, we're bringing you a special episode where we've collated, when we've put together all the best bits from this podcast into one action-packed episode. So enjoy this one, all about mastering social media for your dance studio. Beneficial or detrimental to your business depending on how you use it. So you're dealing with people and companies and organizations every day around social media. What are some of the mistakes that you see people making when it comes to their social media platforms and how they're utilizing them?
The biggest mistake is they don't go in with a plan. They it's sporadic, it's random, and it's like trying to build a home without a set of architectural plans, and they haven't actually sat down and worked out, well, what do we want to be famous for, and how are we going to say that? What's our story? What's our communication strategy? And it's very reactive. It's hit and miss. There is no routine or consistency to it. I truly believe that repetition creates your reputation, and people are looking for instant gratification with social. So they'll maybe tweet for a week or do Instagram for a month, and they'll go, well, I got no results. That was stupid. And the second thing that they do, well, that's the first thing that they're doing wrong, is they don't have a plan. And secondly, where they're getting their advice from. So there is no regulatory body with social, as you know, and there's no gatekeeper. And so every man and their dog, from the stay-at-home mum to the hipster kid that's got Snapchat, are now experts in this space. But the problem is that business people don't have the skill set to recognize if they're getting good advice. So it's kind of like the blind leading the blind. And so you'll get a savvy offline business approach someone to help them with their social. They won't get the results that they were told they could achieve, and therefore they'll say social's bad, and they'll say social's a waste of time. And so they spread that message throughout their business community, and before you know it, people have shut down to the idea that social can work in their business. And my argument is, well, be careful where you're getting your information from, because anything in life can be bad if guided down the wrong path. So number 1 is have a strategy. Definitely have a plan. Number 2 is, educate yourself. And a lot of businesses are saying to me, oh, we don't have time. I'm like, make the freaking time. Like, you've installed a telephone system because you know the importance of it. Well, social's now that important. And if you commute, if you're on a tram, if you're on a train, if you're in a car, listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks, use your time wisely to educate yourself in this space so that you're in a better position to judge whether the advice you're getting is going to really assist your business or take you back a step. So that would be number 2. And number 3 is serve first, sell second, Clint. I see so many people using it as here we go, here's a heap of prospects that we can spam. And the social media came about because of being spammed in email and being spammed in life. And you want to go and serve the community, contribute, solve problems, educate, inspire, and do that, and often enough, people will come in droves to buy from you. But, stop acting like an 18-year-old dude on your first date and buying a chick a drink and then asking her to come home with you. You've got to court and schmooze and flirt with the online community, and they'll then end up wanting to come home with you forever if you do that.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. It's about, building that trust and credibility through giving massive amounts of value.
That's what it is. And for some reason, a lot of the business community are stingy. They're really stingy with their secret sauce. And I'm saying, don't hide your secret sauce. Give it away, because what I know about humans, the more you give them for free, the more they want you to do it for them. Totally. So the great example is personal training. We all know how to go for a run around the block and pick up some weights and do bicep curls, and yet we go to a personal trainer to keep us accountable and keep us efficient and getting us quicker results. So share your secret sauce. Share your biggest tips with the community, and they'll end up coming back and getting you to do it for them anyway.
Yeah, awesome advice. And so when you say testing, because I talk a lot about testing as well to our association members, what does testing mean to you, and how do we, start by setting up a campaign that we can actually test? What's effective testing mean?
I guess the first step of a really good strategy for testing is really defining what you want to get out of that testing environment. So do you want to engage with people who are already paying you for classes, or you want to engage with people who might have never knew about your classes, who potentially they might interact with you and book a course or book a dancing class? So I guess part of the testing is the key objective. Let's say, yes, we want to engage people who have never knew about our dance studio. So I would say you need to test it for example, in Australia, will be first on Facebook and secondly on Instagram. I would say those two are the main channels that you can test. In terms of the creative can be exactly the same. And I would say if you want to save some time, the best way will be to actually push the same creative on both platforms, on Facebook and Instagram. So let's say if it's a matter of getting new leads, you might want to test, let's say, a lead magnet, which is something that you can give for free in exchange of an email address, which is normally what most of the companies do, or what we call a tripwire, which is an offer impossible to resist. So a lead magnet will be, we give you, access to this in exchange of an email address, or a tripwire will be, we give you 50% off in a limited time period for you to book your next class or something like that. So you have to test, I would say, in the best testing environment will be the same creative, the same offer on both channels, and see how the engagement is on each platform.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And guys that are listening, we've talked a lot about, the offer, and the offer might be a 7-day unlimited class pass. It might be 2 classes for $2. I mean, there's so many things that we've talked about before, and it's really important. I'm glad we're talking about testing, because it's one of those things, and you've probably noticed with some of your clients, they'll say, I've done Facebook advertising, it doesn't work. And that's because they tried one ad, they spent $10 and nothing happened.
Yeah, that's clean. You are spot on that, and I see that in clients also saying, we did a test with $100 and nothing really works out. And I guess it's, when you are reaching people who have never knew about your brand, you need to keep consistent, at least I would say within 6 months. Not everybody's ready to convert straight away. So you have to make sure that you have budget to at least, be on top of these people at least, I would say 5-10 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Look, great advice there. Instagram, if we talk about organic reach for a minute, there's been a lot of talk about our organic reach going down on Instagram. Can you explain a little bit more about that? And what should we be focusing on when it comes to, posting on our Instagram account?
Sure. So we're talking about two things there, the reach and the type of content. So In terms of reach, obviously, we know that Instagram has been playing with the algorithm, and we know that, you know, for many years the Instagram algorithm was all about it was in chronological order, which means, you know, if your post was the latest one, it was more likely to appear. Now it's all about, you know, how many people are engaging with your content in Instagram, which will mean likes and comments. So if people are not actually engaging with sort of content that you are posting, it's less likely that they are going to be seeing your content. So it's important to create content that is highly curated on Instagram, content that people are definitely going to like and comment. Therefore, people will be more likely to see your new or your future content on Instagram. The second thing about sort of content on Instagram, I would say you need to have a visual consistency. I think that's one of the key things that I talk a lot. And a lot of companies, especially small business owners, tend to forget what visual consistency means. And I think when we analyze Instagram as a social media platform, we know that Instagram, it has been a curation tool. People actually spend some time to create content that is amazing, pretty much. I remember one of the talks of the Instagram general manager in Australia saying that if you post something that you are not gonna print it and hang it on a wall, is possibly not worth it. So that's a really cool clue to say, yeah, you need to put really good, consistent, visually beautiful content. And even going to the next step, which is actually owning a color palette or a theme. And when we talk about color palettes, means, you know, possibly you are going to own a beautiful blue monochromatic, which is, you know, different sort of blues. And when we talk about a theme, possibly you want to own something that is, yes, most of our content is about user-generated stories. So most of the content that people are going to see on Instagram are actually people using the product or service. So you have to, I would say, either or both on a theme and also a color palette to start with, and then is, you know, creating engagement, testing different type of content. You know, there are so many different type of content that you can use on Instagram, from, you know, behind the scenes, sneak peeks, you know, the people using your product, you know, specific discounts or competitions that you are inviting people to, the team environment. You know, if you have a dance studio, you know, what it means to actually work on that dance studio, why people choose to go there compared with the other competitors, what's unique about the offering, you know, how amazing are the facilities, and, you know, the time and the effort to actually put those facilities together. So there is a bunch of different things, I guess, that dance studios have to test in terms of content, and then seeing on Instagram in analytics what sort of content actually making people to like and comment.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. There's some really great tips. Now, you talked about consistency. What does consistency mean for you? Because for some of our studio owners, it could mean once a day, it could mean 5 times a day, it could mean once a week.
Yeah, sure. That's a good question, Clint. And I would say consistency could mean 2 things. One is the frequency, and the other thing is about what we talk about, the theme, the content type, and the color palette. So let's talk about the frequency, which is the one that we haven't spoken of before. And what we know, there is certain expectation about Instagram followers. I guess Instagram, what we know is that people expect content from brands. I would say at least twice a week. So if you have if our dance studio owners have limited time to actually, you know, do consistent content, I would say at least try to put something on twice a week, so people don't forget about your brand, don't forget about your dance studio. You know, so even some companies that actually grew their business only focus on Instagram, I know that they started posting at least, I think an example, some Australian examples say that they were posting at least 4 times a day. So if you have time, you can do it more regularly. If you don't have time, I would say do it at least twice a week.
Yeah, and would you say, like, doing it twice a week and putting those beautiful images with the color palettes, you know, following the advice that you've given, rather than like post 4 times a day, like whatever, you know, take a photo, post it, take a photo, post it. Is that a better approach?
I say yes because Instagram, we know that it's a curation platform. It's kind of different than possibly Snapchat, where you can be a little bit silly, a little bit odd, a little bit controversial in a way. I would say Instagram, so far, until now, the changes that they did with Instagram stories, and possibly we will talk about this later, I would say it's a definitely very highly curated tool. So instead of putting, 10 posts a week or 20 posts a week that are not really amazing photos, I would say focus on just top 2 or top 3 on a weekly basis.
Paul, I know we're running out of time, but I really want to talk about Snapchat.
Word, let's do it.
Because our studio owners are coming to us saying, Clint, all of our students are like on Snapchat, and I don't know how it works, and I don't see how it could be valuable for our studio. And so I'd love to kind of get your ideas around, firstly, for those that might not know, like, what is Snapchat? And essentially, how could we start using it in our dance studio to, connect? I think it's great for connecting with current students, so helping with retention. But also, can we, how do we kind of build a following there and potentially maybe get some people from Snapchat into our studio?
For sure. So I'll just give you a brief synopsis on the platform and how it works, and then what you can do to kind of, and why it's awesome, and then what you can do to kind of get a bunch of followers to, essentially incorporate Snapchat into your conversion funnel, right? So Snapchat is basically a platform that takes away all of this perfectionism around social media and gives you really real time, almost live, very, very real, unedited content, and gateways into other people's lives, right? And at its core, it started out as a sexting app, back in when it was developed years ago, in a dorm room, a very, very Zuckerberg-esque type foundation story. And it's blown up into this crazy global, domination, of a social media platform. It's been, Facebook tried to buy them out for $3 billion, I'm pretty sure, a year or two ago, and flew out the CEO of Snapchat to Facebook and offered this money, and then the CEO was like, yeah, nah. And, they've basically exploded since then. But I mean, damn, you turned down a $3 billion, offer to buy your business after it's been, alive for 3 to 4 years, $3 billion. And that's crazy. And the reason, I believe, the reason that he's turned it down is because there's, in terms of the platform, Snapchat in my mind is the next Facebook. Very, very different beasts, but in terms of the value and the return and being able to scale and grow your business in the future, Snapchat is the new Facebook in my mind. And the main reason I believe that is because it offers an unparalleled sense of personification of your brand and who you are or who your business is than anything else, any other marketing platform that I've ever seen in the history that I've been doing, digital marketing and marketing. In terms of how do we get some followers? How can we get people looking at what we're doing? You can go old school, right? If you got your Snapchat handle, right? Let's say, for example, my Snapchat handle is Paul Raimondo, right? So you can now drive people to a link, which is hosted on Snapchat, which you can use the URL, which allows people to go to that link and then add you directly to follow you on Snapchat, right? So if you want the link, I'll give it to you. It's basically snapchat.com/add, so ADD /username. So for example, mine is snapchat.com/ADD/Paul Raimondo, all one word. And then what that means, once you've got that URL, it means you can actually start promoting your Snapchat URL on your existing social networks in your email newsletter. You can start promoting the Snapchat QR code, which is something that you get with every single Snapchat account, in your actual dance studios or at the bottom of your newsletters or in your actual social media or as a display picture of your Facebook account or a display picture of your Instagram account. And basically people can screenshot or save that QR code of your Snapchat account and then go into Snapchat and just go into their photos and press scan, and it automatically adds you within a second as a follower on their Snap or as someone to follow on their Snapchat, which is really, really cool. In terms of just overall tips to grow your Snapchat. Just think about everything you do on your other social platforms to grow it, and how you send traffic to those platforms, and then just apply it to Snapchat, because you've got this URL option, and it's a really, really powerful way to do it when you're first starting out.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and I mentioned to you before we started this interview, guys, I've been following Paul now for a few months, and he's got a very engaging account. Do you think one of the keys is consistency?
Absolutely. And I'm trying, I made it one of my, we talked about goals earlier, making it one of my daily goals, and I haven't achieved it every day this week. But my daily goal at the moment is to upload. So I use my Snapchat account every day. In my Snapchat account, I've got a show called the Daily Digital Marketing Show, or Daily Digital Marketing Tips. And basically every single day I give a daily digital marketing tip away to my audience. I give a lot of value. Or I answer a question that someone's asked me about digital marketing, and I answer that within my daily digital marketing tip. And essentially, I'm producing, 1 to 2 minute, or not even, probably like 1 minute type clips, super fast, super paced, because you're limited to 10 seconds in how you can tell your story. I'm providing a lot of value in a bite-sized nugget form. And I mentioned earlier that we're all super attention deficit, we're all super scroll happy in 2016. And Snapchat's awesome because it caters to this attention deficit, which we all have. We're very, very easily distracted, right? The shiny disco ball that we're talking about earlier. And Snapchat basically is like, all right, cool. Here's like a quick little 30 seconds to 1 minute piece of valuable content, and then it's done. And if I'm doing that every single day, the consistency is awesome. And it means that people can come back and view my account every single day. And they know that, all right, cool, if I need a digital marketing tip today, I know this, I try to be entertaining. This guy's entertaining and it's providing me value, and it's going to be over. Worst case scenario, it's over in like 30 seconds.
Are you saving? So when you kind of are doing these videos, I mean, it's a lot of content. And for those that don't know, Snapchat essentially is there and then it goes. Are you, saving all of these videos somewhere? Are you repurposing the content yet?
Absolutely. So I actually have just started this weekend repurposing. I'm up to tip number 32 or 33 on my Snapchat, right? And I've just this week put in place, we talked about systems and processes earlier. I've just put in place a really, really cool repurposing mechanism for all of my Snapchat content. And I'll quickly run through it because I know we don't have too much time. But if you're concerned as a business owner about investing all this time to Snapchat and be like, oh, it's going to disappear, it's going to be gone after 24 hours, don't be, because you can save all your story, and it just saves onto your photo reel on your iPhone or on your Android, and it just saves into a collection of the clips that you've uploaded to your story. And the story is kind of like the newsfeed version on Facebook, on Snapchat, like on Facebook. And basically you can save the story and then you can upload it to YouTube, or you can upload it to your Facebook page. You can even just upload it straight from your phone, so you can repurpose that for the future. At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm repurposing all of my daily digital marketing tips into a Keynote template that I built, which is like PowerPoint. And then I'm exporting the Keynote template with the video to basic like MP4, like a movie file. And then I'm uploading that into YouTube, which is now in like widescreen form because I've used a template. And then I'm promoting that YouTube, and I'm also uploading to Facebook, promoting that existing content with the link back to my Snapchat account, which we talked about earlier, like the Snapchat/ad/Paul Raimondo, and using the existing content that I created on Snapchat to drive more awareness about my Snapchat channel on my existing social networks, to drive more followers to my Snapchat so they can experience all the daily digital marketing tips live. And it's really, really cool. And it basically means that I can repurpose the content and get a lot more value and help a lot more people, whilst also building my business and my brand in the same token. And then I'm also repurposing the video content that I've initially created on Snapchat, then put to YouTube and Facebook, and I'm repurposing that content into blog form as well. So it's like this massive synergy of content creation that's essentially all, I've basically automated most of it with staff members that I'm using, that work for me, to build all this content for me. And then all I have to do is invest my time in producing the actual Snapchat story.
Yeah.
Which is like a minute or two, right? Awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And I definitely see you jumping on, doing it well. So guys, definitely follow Paul, because it's a great place for you to start kind of seeing what great people are doing. Who are some other people that we should be following on Snapchat, Paul?
Definitely Chris Ma. Chris Ma is a mate of mine who's from the he's from Europe. And basically he runs a business called the Content Marketing Academy. If you're looking at ideas and ways in terms of how to build your business through content marketing, and we touched on this a lot in this podcast, Chris Ma is the guy you want to be talking to and following. Another guy I'd recommend following is my mate. I actually interviewed him last week, James Chew. And he's basically known as the Aussie video guy, teaching small business owners, much like your audience, how they can create awesome video, which they can then promote on Facebook or promote on YouTube, or put into their conversion funnel to help them drive leads and signups. And he teaches business owners like your audience how to do that at a very, very low cost, and how to kind of get over the fear of being in front of a camera. He's amazing. His name's James Chew. I'll send you the link so you can pop them in the description for this video so you can give those guys a follow.
So I guess the first question is, there's lots of social media platforms out there. There's Facebook, there's Twitter, Periscope is kind of firing up really quickly. We know that lots of our students are on Snapchat as well. Tell us why it's a good idea for us to be on Instagram, and if someone doesn't have an Instagram account, or they're new to Instagram and maybe they're like posting a picture and they're like, why am I doing this? What would you say to those people?
Well, first of all, for any platform, if you are here for business, you need to have a strategy, and you shouldn't be doing anything because someoe's telling you to get on Snapchat, get on Instagram, get on Periscope. And by the way, I love Periscope and I have a huge following there as well. I believe that if you're going to embrace social media, it shouldn't feel like work. You should pick the platform or platforms that you love and that you love going to. Like, I wake up every day and the first place I go is Instagram. It's where I get my news feed. It's where I get my creative inspiration. It's where I learn something new every day. And it sets me up for my success daily, whether it's that inspiration or motivation or a new product that I want to check out. So you've got to decide where you want to be, and more importantly, where your audience is, where your target market is. So the word strategy is something I teach over and over again in my courses and with all my students that I coach, because a lot of people think they just have to get on it because it's the latest and greatest trend or platform. So when you decide to get on Instagram, like I said, you have to have a strategy in mind. And that strategy is built around visual content, which we can go into in detail.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's good. I mean, it's a scary place for some studio owners to start, though, because they know their audience is there. We definitely know that they're kind of what you would call juniors heading into seniors are 100% on Instagram. If they're not on there yet, what's kind of like the first couple of steps that you can give us to kind of get on there? And should we be checking out other successful studios accounts first? Should we be checking out like the big corporates to see kind of what how they're working? What should we do to get started?
Well, I like that you said, so most of the owners have students that are 13 and older, you said? Is that true? Yeah. So absolutely, Snapchat and Instagram is where they are at and living. They have abandoned Facebook for the most part. So if you're trying to reach them, or I assume that you're also trying to reach their parents, their mothers. Who are actually paying the bill for them to be dancing. I have 3 daughters. I paid for gymnastics and all the other activities. Yeah, they did dancing as well. And also, I just want to mention to all of you that I can so relate to you because I used to teach art classes to kids. So I know that passion with the kids and what it means to really help shape their future. So this is exciting and near and dear to me. So if what you just said is exactly what I advise people to do, which is first go and find other accounts who are doing it right. Now, I have a 19-year-old twin daughter, Lila, who has an account called Fresh Fit and Fearless. And she is probably very relatable to a lot of the target customer, the kids that are taking the dance class. And Lila taught me something recently that we shared on a Blab interview, and that's a whole nother platform. But Lila said that she spent so much time looking and finding other accounts that gave her inspiration around food, healthy eating, healthy food, clean eating, which I'm sure a lot of these dancers are into. And she looked and saw what they were doing successfully, or what she deemed successful in her mind, what she was attracted to. So number one is absolutely doing the market research, I call it. And I would rather you see small and medium-sized brands who are doing it versus the big brands, because quite frankly, the big brands are paying for an agency to do it, and it's really hard to match up to that. But it's good to look at what their standards are and how they're setting the bar, LOL, literally, in dance. So I would first and foremost go check out what other people are doing. Secondly, I would curate some awesome photos. When I say awesome, I mean really high quality. I call Instagram, like if you're going to post something, it's all about the North Star. It's all about the photo and having a fabulous photo with great lighting. And a lot of times we'll just post and the photos are really drabby. They didn't use the filters in Instagram or a third-party app that would help set themselves up for success. And it really hinders getting more eyeballs on those posts because people are attracted to the photo. And if you're dancing, let me tell you something. I did some research before this interview, and there are so many amazing dance accounts that I'll share in a little bit where there's great videos, there's smiling faces, these kids are adorable, and the lighting's phenomenal. And you really want to set yourself up that way. So that would be the second. And then the third is having a rocking bio. And so I can go into detail of what it means to have a bio that sets you up for success if you want.
Yeah, I think that'd be really helpful.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, definitely.
So let me just count the elements. I think there's 5 elements that you need to remember when you're doing a bio, a rocking bio. And on my website, I do offer this service called InstaBio. The first one that's very important is to have an avatar that represents your business. In most situations, it's going to be a beautiful dancer. It's not the name of your dance studio. I don't want to do business on Instagram with a dance studio. I want to see a smiling face or a child with their leg in the air or something exciting that gets my attention as an avatar. Remember, it's smaller than a dime. And so it's got to really grab someone's attention. And it should be a professional photo, not something that's just cropped out of another picture. Number 1 is the avatar. Number 2 is the name of the account. It should match up to your business or the name of your business. And if you can't get it because someone else has it, you can use an underscore or a dot. There is a workaround. Or you could say dance company at the end or dance studio. So that's number 2. Number 3 is having keywords in the description of your bio that represents what your target market is actually looking for. Who do you want to serve? Who is your ideal client? Those words need to be written in a way that is laid out that I can actually read it and understand it. I don't want to know that you love cats and that you yoga if you're teaching dance. I want it to all be in the spirit around your studio and your branding. And then you want to have a call to action. What is it exactly that you want people to do? What is that action you want them to take? And often I tell people to use the emoji with the finger pointing down or to use an arrow because you only get 150 characters in a bio. So you want to use those words wisely. So often emojis help represent some of those words. And there is a dancing girl. I don't think there's a ballet slipper, but I know that there's a dancer. So I don't know if that aligns with what your studio would be, but you could certainly check out those emojis. And then lastly, the one URL that you have on Instagram, the one that everybody has, I recommend turning it into a custom Bitly so that you can actually track it. And if you don't know how to do this, I do have a YouTube channel at Subi Zimmerman. I do have a playlist called Instagram for Business, and I teach you how to create a custom Bitly for Instagram. So definitely check that out. And if you go over to YouTube and you watch that video, I want to know that you came over from this interview. So mention this interview in your comments because I really like to know how people find me. So I have you covered with how to do that. So those are the key elements in setting up an Insta bio.
I hope you got a huge amount of value from today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us for one of our special best of episodes where every week for the month of March, we're sharing with you the best guests, the best information, the best tactics and strategies that have been shared on this podcast over the last 2 and a bit years. And I want to remind you, if filling your dance studio is a priority, if you want more numbers, more students inside of your classes, don't forget, jump over to our website, dancestudioownersassociation.com, to grab your free copy of my guide, 7 Ways to Attract Students in 7 Days. And if you're loving these episodes and you don't want to miss out on the weekly podcast that we do, jump on over to iTunes and hit the subscribe button so that you never miss another episode. Take care, and I'll talk to you really soon.
Thank you for joining us today. For all the resource links from the show and to receive access to our free dance studio growth training, make sure you visit transformmydancestudio.com.